Welcome to Numina, the only place that's reverse engineered the College Board. We're going to show you how to solve these problems very quickly with mathematical precision and with 100% confidence. That means you no longer have to rely on the answer key, but purely on the power of your knowledge. The mind is a powerful tool, and we're going to show you how to use it. Here's how it's done. In 12, the country found that its economy was growing more stronger with an improved outlook and more opportunities for training and employment. We're going to show you how to solve this problem very quickly and accurately. But in order for you to do that, you really need to master the grammar. So we're going to go through every single answer choice and see what's being tested. So let's look at A. Was growing. This is in the past progressive tense. So anytime you see form of the verb to be, and if that's function as a helping verb, and if the helping verb is in the past, then automatically that should tell you that the tense is in the past. And then growing is the present participle, letting us know that it's in the past progressive tense. Now we're going to look for three things in choice A. We're going to go for three tests: subject verb test, a verb tense test, and a verb form test. Some of you may not be familiar with these terms. Well, I hope you know what subject verb and verb tense is. If you don't know what verb form is, don't fret. Just go to our archives and look it up. You really need to understand the difference between verb tense and verb form. So let's do a subject verb test. So what would be the subject to was growing? It would be economy. So clearly economy is singular, and the verb was growing is singular as well. So we're good here. We're fine. We don't have a subject verb issue here at all. Now we're going to give it a verb tense test. Now, if you look at the main verb found, you'll see that that's in the past tense. Now we have to look at what the country found. What did the country find? Well, they found that its economy was growing more stronger. So if they discovered it, the act or the phenomenon could not have happened after they found it, because there would be nothing to find. So it happened, it must have happened as the economy was growing or after the economy actually grew. In this case, the country found that the economy was growing as it was happening. So that's why we're using the past progressive. So the verb tense seems to work. Now let's do a verb form check. Verb form kind of gets tricky. The only verb form that you need to really watch out for in choice A is to see whether or not the present participle is being appropriately used. Sometimes looking at the alternative choice helps us see that the current choice would be the better choice. So the alternative would be grown, was grown. So if we throw this in the passive voice, which is the form of the verb to be plus the past participle, that its economy was grown more stronger, then it seems like someone is making the economy grow, that its economy was grown by something. But clearly that's not what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say that the economy was growing on its own. And so the verb form works here as well. We don't need the past participle. In fact, we need the present participle, growing, and to create this verb, was growing. So we're good. So in B, we have more stronger. I know some of you are already saying this can't be right. More stronger is wrong. Yeah, it's wrong, but that's not what we're trying to do here. Okay, this is an easy question. You really need to prepare yourself and take the steps so that you won't be fooled when you do come across a more difficult question. So we're just going to look at the grammatical concepts involved in B. Anytime you see an adjective or an adverb, they're called modifiers. So adjectives can come in many, many different forms. It could be a word, a phrase, a clause, and adverbs as well. It could be a word, a phrase, or a clause. If you don't know what a word or a phrase phrase or clauses, again, look at our archives on at our website, and you'll get a good understanding of what words, phrases, and clauses are. But anytime you see an adjective, you do need to do a check here. You need to do a modifier check. So let's see. Should we use the adverb here strongly, or would stronger work? Stronger would work because strongly growing means that the economy would discuss how or describe how it was growing. But we're talking about the result of the economy, right? What happened to the economy? Well, the economy became stronger. So although the verb growing seems to look like an action verb, in fact, it's a linking verb here. Its function is a linking verb, meaning it's like it would be equivalent to the verb becoming or form of the verb to be, and that its economy was stronger. It's pretty much saying the same thing, except they're throwing in the fact that it was a transition, it was growing. So stronger words. Faulty comparison. Well, it's not a faulty comparison error in the sense that you don't know what's being compared or there's some logical inconsistency. It's a faulty comparison error in the sense that you shouldn't speak this way. You shouldn't write this way. More, stronger. The word stronger in itself is already in its comparative form. You don't really need it, add in the more, unless you're a very aggressive individual and you want to emphasize more stronger. That wouldn't work either, actually. That doesn't really improve the situation. I mean, I think everyone would understand stronger would work. So here we have a dictionary. What's a dictionary? Well, dictionaries are, those mistakes that we make when we talk and we put that down on paper. And on paper, we need to be a little bit more thorough about grammar. And we see that, what's stated shouldn't have been stated in the way that it's been stated, or we mispronounced words, or we used the wrong word. So diction usually involves mistakes of the colloquial and the inappropriate kind, where you're fumbling words, and that's what's happening here. They're fumbling words here, more stronger. So the error here is it's a combination of the two: faulty comparison, diction. Right? We'll call it faulty comparison because although it's not really a logical comparison error, the word stronger is a word that should compare, but we messed it up by throwing the word more, making it a diction faulty comparison error. Does that make any sense? So B looks like it's our answer choice, but we're going to move on to C and D. Okay, hang on. Okay, so we're at C now, and we have an improved outlook. So there are two things that we need to test here. I'm not making this up, but this choice, it can't involve anything other than a modifier and a verb form. I mean, think about it. Clearly, it's not. Improved is not working as a verb, so its function is an adjective modifying outlook. So we're going to do a modifier check to see if there is a better way, or to see what it's modifying. Well, it's modifying outlook. It seems to work. So the modifier is okay. I want to do a verb form check. So the verb form should also be okay as well, because the modifier did work. But again, the alternative would be an improving outlook. An improving outlook wouldn't make much sense here, because that would mean that the outlook is taking on the action of self-improving. The outlook is improving itself somehow. So clearly, an improved outlook is something that had become a better outlook than in the past. So basically, the outlook was horrible in the past, but now it's been improved. So the verb form, the past participle, works here. So we don't have to really worry about C anymore. C works out. So C is can't be our answer choice. Now in D, I know some of you, especially those those students uh, who have problems with prepositions, mainly those students whose English isn't the first language, get kind of flustered with prepositions. Don't worry about them. Anytime you see a preposition, it's not always an idiom error. So we're going to do an idiom check because prepositions usually involve idioms. So we're going to do an idiom check, and we're also going to do a verb form check. And we're going to do a parallel check, but I'm not going to get into parallel until I explain idiom and verb form. Unless we tell you that this idiom is important, don't worry about idioms. Most of the answer choices do not involve idioms. And the types of idioms that come out often are set phrases like both A and B, between A and B, either A or B. So don't worry about idioms for now. Just assume that the preposition is used correctly. In most cases, about 95% of the time, it really is. So we're going to look at verb form. Now for training, the verb form is the present participle. Training is written in the present participle form. Present participles standalone can function as adjectives. With the helping verb, it can function as a verb, as in A was growing. But standalone, they function as either adjectives and sometimes gerund. Gerund is a present participle functioning as a noun. In this case, it's a gerund. Why? Well, because for is a preposition. It requires an object. And objects must be nouns. So in this case, training is a gerund that's playing the role of the object of the preposition for, and it works fine. Now, some are wondering, then, can we always use gerunds for after prepositions? Well, it really depends. In many cases, if the gerund has a noun equivalent, for example, let's take a look at the word exploring and exploration. In many cases, unless you're actually trying to describe a process, the noun form is preferred. I mean, it's not always the case, but in many cases this is true. But training is a special type of gerund because we don't really have a noun equivalent for training. What would be the noun equivalent? Train? Choo-choo train? That makes no sense. It's a completely different word. Trainer? That's a person. It's not the act of training. So whenever you come across a gerund that has no noun equivalent, then you need to treat it like a regular noun. It's no longer functioning as a normal gerund, but it's more functioning as a regular noun. So how does this help us? Well, I know some of you, for those of you who are really, really into parallel structures, you'll probably be eyeing on training and employment. Some of you are going, wait a minute, training and employment, are in different forms. Training's a gerund and employment's a regular noun form. They can't possibly be parallel. Well, they can, because training has no noun equivalent. What are you going to throw in? Trainer? For trainer and employment? For train and employment? None of these would work. And notice, there's no underline below employment. So we can't change employment, but neither could we change training because, again, training has no noun equivalent. So this parallel works. So the rule of thumb here is when you cannot find a noun equivalent of the gerund, then you can pair it with a regular noun, or you can throw it in a series with a regular noun. So this is a very, very important rule. So in this case, we don't really have a parallel issue, so D is correct as well. And so our answer choice has to be B. Now, I want you to go back and try to correct the error in the sentence, because this will really, by doing this, you will really improve your grammar. So let's read the sentence again and see if it makes sense with the corrected version. The country found that its economy was growing stronger with an improved outlook and more opportunities for training and employment. Perfect. Numina, Empowering Minds.